Hi, Jeff and Ron and the rest of the Alpine team. A while back, we talked about you're wanting to collect some temperature off of your saw motors, and you didn't have a current solution. And so I've been putting together something for you, and I promised you that I would be willing to send you hardware, allow you to plug it in, allow you to start getting some data, start seeing what's going on. And if you wanted to keep it, you'd pay for it. If not, you send it back. So I've been putting that together. Got some hardware. One of the first things that you guys said, we were talking about RTDs, and you were worried about whether an RTD could handle your environment and without getting beat up by flying wood and all that. So I got some really pretty heavy-duty RTDs. You can see here that it's nice solid cable. It's about 10 feet long, so it's robust. It's something that I think will definitely handle it. And I got 4 of them. So I have 4 of these RTDs, and I plugged them into a little module here. And you can see that I have just a screw terminal connector on there that goes in here and 24 volts into here. And then there's another screw terminals for the other 3 RTDs. And this is just the I/O module that allows me to get this back into a network. So I have an Ethernet port there. That Ethernet port, as I show here on the diagram, goes over Modbus TCP back into this row key. This is what allows me to collect the data into a couple different dashboards. It allows me to get it remotely for you. So the I/O module comes into one of these LAN ports here. And then when I turn this key on, this key is a data diode. It just allows us to turn off the hardware level whether or not data can go through remotely or not. So you can turn this off just with a simple key, just through a data diode. Of course, you could disconnect the Ethernet cables too, but this allows you to actually lock it out. So then this port right here, you can just plug into your LAN, your network, your company network, and it's DHCP. It'll set the address, and then I can see it remotely, or you can see it remotely. You don't have to let me see it remotely, but I can if you let me. And I can show you how you can get it remotely. So that is what shows up here, up through into the cloud, and then onto a dashboard with a simple link. There's a couple of different dashboards, and I'll show you both of the options and getting some data logging. I'm also receiving some other hardware that this gateway here, the Smart Swarm here, looks a lot like this guy. And that is going to allow me to wirelessly connect to one of these I/O modules that has a vibration sensor in it. So this is just a vibration sensor. It's just magnetic. It can go right onto the motor. It can be screwed on and glued on if you want, but it's a vibration sensor, also has temperature in it, and then this has ambient temperature as well as something else to play with. This doesn't get like really high-end vibration. It doesn't give you a spectrum and all that, but it gives you some idea of what's going on. I thought maybe it'd be interesting for me to send that along with it when I have it and have it all put together for you if you're interested. If you just want to get your hands on this now, and I can send you the rest of it. One of the side benefits of this is you can have this router, the secure router. So if you have your controls on your machine, you can get through it, through your network, through the cloud from your laptop. So that would also allow you to work from home during these very interesting times, allow you to get to your machines out in the field. So if there's something more that you want to know about that, I'm happy to share that with you, happy to show you how to do that. There's a couple different versions of it. So just give me your feedback, whether this is interesting, whether it's something you want to pursue now in the future or what have you, and I'll keep working on this. So if you guys want to see a little bit more about the software and what we can see and what we can do, this is the software that shows the MD Connect line devices. And so the row key is that yellow device I was just showing you. So I'm going to click on that. And this allows me to see some configurations and what have you. And if I turn this on, you can see that the device is online. And if I turn this on here, that's turning on the secure VPN. That actually allows me to, if there's a controller on the other end, it allows me to get in from this end using a software package. So if you have a PLC and you have their PLC software, you can turn on your PLC software and remotely go through that secure VPN and get into it. So that's on, and I can have it set up on a map and everything. And but I actually don't need that on to see the data. So I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to disconnect. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and turn on a dashboard. And I'm going to open that up, drag it onto the screen while it turns on. And then I have to log in. So I log in, and there are a couple different dashboards here. I can set up alarms, I can look at the data, and then there's actually some data capture. I can have it email me a history file or email it on a regular basis. So I'm going to go ahead and look at the temperatures. This is in my office here. There's 4 of them. For each one, there is the actual temperature. There's a maximum temperature. I can reset it. So this one is way high, so I'm going to reset the maximum temperature. And then I just turned this on, so it's not actually collecting data just yet, or just starting to. But since I cycled the power, since I was showing it to you, I wiped out all the last data because I didn't save it. You can see that there's a little bit of variance in the temperatures here just because I haven't calibrated the RTD inputs yet. I've ordered some resistors, and so I can calibrate those, but those are still due to be calibrated. But you can see that I reset the maximum temperature a moment ago by hitting this button, and I can do that on each one of this. I'll just go ahead and reset that, and this value after a moment will go ahead and go back to this. It's not real time. This isn't milliseconds of data. I have these set to, I think, 15 seconds and 30-second update rates. Each one of these I have a different type of logging set up, so the graphs will eventually look a little bit different just because I can trigger off of intervals. I can trigger it off of actual change in data with a tolerance and what have you. And then if we want, we can actually set up alarms by turning on an alarm and going I want it to give me a high alarm at 80 degrees and then a low temperature alarm at 70 degrees, something like that, and have it email or text to the phone. So this is actually all through what's called Node-RED. In the background, Node-RED has these flows that are operating. If you've never seen it, it's an open source flow-based program. I have to log in again. Once I've logged in, you can see what Node-RED looks like. I'm going to zoom out so you can see all the flows. So there's this flow-based language. All it's doing is taking the Modbus TCP tags and digesting them from the raw values into Fahrenheit, and then setting up alarms and what have you. So it's pretty simple. Got that all set up. No need to do any more unless we want it to show something different or do something different. There's a lot that it can be done there. It can go out to the cloud. It can set up databases and what have you. There is another dashboard. So I'm going to go back to this dashboard. This dashboard is more native to the Roki itself. It's not using any sort of programming language or anything in the background. It's just setting up tags, Modbus TCP tags coming in, and then going into widgets. So this is more native to the MP Connect line stuff itself. Again, you can see these temperatures. It still had some data in there, so that's good because it comes from a different source of the memory, different part of the memory. Because of the different way I have the different data logs set up and everything, the graphs look different. But I'm going to zoom down here. You can actually go ahead and zoom in on a portion if you want it to look, if you want to look at it more closely. So this is actually better for data logging and as well as looking to real time, but there's some better functionality here. We can also do some alarms and stuff through this one as well. So I hope that gives you some idea of what we're doing with this. We can certainly add more and take stuff away. I'm hoping you're interested in it. Let's talk.